Student, today's topic is the tense problems 4. The objectives. Students will be able to use the appropriate tense in certain confusing situations. Problem with words. Students sometimes use an incorrect tense or don't know how to use the past participle forms of irregular words. Using work tense impressively or inconsistently can also distract a reader and block communication. Illegal time sequence. Recognize time sequence in your writing and choose work tenses that logically reflect that sequence. Sometimes the choice of a verb tense affects your meaning. For example, Karen worked at the library for a year. As the previous tense shows, the past tense indicates a completed action. Karen no longer works at the library. The other example, Karen has worked at the library for a year. Here, the present perfect tense indicates that a past action is continuing in the present. Karen is still working at the library. Karen had worked at the library for a year. In this tense, the past perfect tense indicates that something else happened after Karen's here at the library. For example, Karen had worked at the library for a year when she was asked to take over office work. When to use the perfect tense. Learn to use the perfect tense when they are appropriate to your meaning. Don't limit yourself to the simple past tense when writing about past action. In the following sentence, a perfect tense should have been used to establish a clear time sequence. 同學，以下試下做一次做，邊一句係正確嘅呢？好，我哋又對一對答案。Answer: The car wash stood where the sandwich shop was. It is wrong. The other one, all the things you told me I heard before. This also wrong. In the first sentence, since the sandwich shop was in the location before the car wash, they can't occupy the same spaces at the same time. Past perfect should be used for the second word. Example, the car wash stood where the sandwich shop had been. It is right. The logic of the second sentence detects that heard should be in the past perfect tense. The verb before is an obvious cue that the hearing took place before the telling, even though both actions were completed in the past. All the things you told me I had heard before. It is right. Float clauses. The past perfect tense should also be used in a subjunctive past tense if clause. For example, if she had thought of it, she would have called you. A common error is to use the conditional would have or could have in both clauses. Would have and could have should be used only in the clause that states the consequence. Do the exercise below. It is right or it is wrong. So, student, check the answer by yourself. In consonants in tenses, another common error is illogically mixing tenses in a sentence or in a piece of writing. Choose the verb tense you want to use in your sentence or in your essay. Then make sure that all words are constant, either by being in the same tense or by reflecting past and future times in relation to your main tense. For example, Bob went into the market, walked over to the produce section, and picked through the tomatoes. It is right or it is wrong? What tenses it used? In the persisting tenses, there is no logical reason to move from the past tense, went, to the present tense, walks, and picks. Use the past tense or the present tense, not both. Rewrite the sentence using consistent tenses. Bob ran into the market, walked over to the produce section, and picked through the tomatoes. Consistent tenses. Look at the words tenses in this group of the sentences. For example, this new program will pay its own way. It specified that anyone who wanted to use the service has to pay a fee. People who refused to do so won't receive the benefits. In consistent tenses, it is wrong. Notice that the changes in the tense between sentences are not related to a clear time sequence. A rewritten version of this piece shows a more consistent, logical use of tenses. This new program will pay its own way. It specifies that anyone who wants to use the service has to pay a fee. People who refuse to do so won't receive the benefits. Consistent tenses. In this correct version, all words tenses except the first will pay and last won't receive or will not receive are in the present tense. The future tense is correctly used for the first and the last words because this word indicates future sequence. Consequence. Student, do your task 1. There are 14 mistakes with conditionals. Help correct the sentence. You may need to delete or change words. The first one, do it. I would close it. Students, check your answer by yourself. Active words that need turning into passive. For a less sweet mixture, simplify, add less sugar. A less sweet mixture can be obtained simplified by adding less sugar. Notice that the passive verb may not be the same as the active words. You may also need to use a passive with an infinitive. The investigators believed the accident occurred without warning. The accident is believed by the investigators to have occurred without warning. The usage is common with words such as believe, know, report, say, and think. Note 2. In this last example, the use of a perfect infinitive to have occurred. Student, let's do the proofreading. You have written a science fiction story. Proofread your story. Underline the mistake and write the correct each mistake on the lines provided. Insert any missing words using cross out the words you do not need. The first two have been done for you as example. There's only one mistake in every numbered line. Student, now do the exercise to test yourself. It is a proofreading. Check the answers by yourself. Have a nice studies. Bye.